Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches, here to do my Flosstube update number 333. Hold on one second. Uh, my update number 333. Happy Mother's Day tomorrow. Today is Saturday. Sunday is Mother's Day. And I just wanted to share, I've shown this picture before, but the picture of my mom when she was in, I want to say in college, maybe? Yeah. Sorry about the glare, but yeah, it's a really pretty picture. So we had it out here because we filmed our Three Sisters video a little while ago. So I had it handy there, so I thought I would show it. So tomorrow is Mother's Day, and I had talked about before, I don't think I have it. Yeah, I might have it here, I don't know. About I'm wanting to work tomorrow on the that mother chart that I have it's by New York Dreamer. Ezia Gladstone, I think is the designer's name. Anyway, so I hope to possibly finish it on Sunday because I don't have that much to go to finish it. But I'm going to work on that tomorrow for Mother's Day. And also, starting tomorrow, I'm going to work on my next WIPGO piece. Number 5, number 13, and number 19 were called. And so far, the secondary ones that I was working on are the WIPGO May, which I showed last week. I've done some work on that. And then the French thing, bunny in my garden, a rabbit in my garden, which I have not yet worked on. And number 13 was a new start of Starry Night. It was my secondary chart, but the main one was Come Thou Fount, the redo of my Come Thou Fount chart. And I've just got a little bit of a start on it, so I'm hoping to spend 7 days on that. And then today, the number 19 was the one I worked on this past week. The Sleepy Hollow, I talked about last week. I did a little bit more work on that. But my main emphasis for this week has been the Jackrabbit, which is a Cottage Garden Samplings A Year in the Woods series, number 3. And I wanted to show that, but the charts that I worked on for this particular one, the number 1 is the fox. I started with that, I think, January of last year. I worked on that for a while. And then the swans, which I worked on last month. That was one of my ones for last month. And the jackrabbit, which was the one for this month, was one of the ones for this month. And this is the one that got me started on all of these. Cheryl, whose last name I can't remember. She has the Flosstube channel Tranquil Stitches, and she and her husband live in Virginia, I believe. Anyway, she showed this when these charts first came out. I think it was 2 years ago, perhaps. But I just, this jackrabbit's face is just, very smiley, very cute. And she was fascinated. I don't know if she had all 12 of them, but she certainly had this one. And so, yeah, when she showed it, I thought, I've got to get that one. And I got all 12 of them. So I worked a little bit on, on them. I think all but the July, August, and September ones I had not started yet. So I started one of those a couple months ago, and I hope to get started on the other 2 at some point this year. But anyway, so this was the one I was working on this past week. This is my number 19 WIPGO. And I went ahead and took all of the, I took this cloth out and gave it a little press because it was getting wadded up, like, as my mother used to say, like chewing gum, like a piece of chewing gum. This is the number 1 chart. And I'm sort of watching things go on the side. So this is number 1. This is the fox. And this is, I worked on it, I think, January of last year. So I finished the little cabin and several of the trees and some of the, most of the little snowdrop things. There's a few more that, you know, because I would work on them like, you know, when I had the end of a thread left or whatever. So I think there's like one more up here and, you know, a few more here and there. But so, yeah, that's number 1, the fox. And I've done them, you know, 3 on each piece of material. So I came up with this little border to separate them. And then this is the swans, which I showed last month, excuse me. Well, last week, because it was the end of April. So there's, you know, some trees and boughs and stuff over here in this corner. But the swans themselves are mostly done. And then this is the jackrabbit. So when I started this, let me put this behind it. So when I started this at the beginning of the week, I had just these 2 flowers and this stem. And I didn't even have the centers of the flowers, but I did a little bit of those. There's a little green, a few stitches of green in the middle of each of these. And then I have not done the middle of this one yet. I did a few of these little, there's several of these little 4 little stitches of this violet. This is a Weeks Dye Works, I think. Yeah, Weeks Dye Works lilac, not violet, lilac. So there's several of these little, you know, 4-stitch things, and they have like a single stitch of this. This is 3865, this white color. There's several of them all throughout this pattern that I haven't done yet. So, but I finished the cabin. I did the cabin, and I worked on the jackrabbit. So you can see his little face. I wanted to finish his face because it's so cute. And so right now I've been working lately on his ears because there are just lots and lots of this darker, I think it's $37.99, you know, like not quite black, you know, very, very dark gray. And there's lots and lots of different shades of gray. This is Classic Colorworks. No, General Arts. Pewter, aged pewter is this lighter gray color, and then more of that 3865, and this is a little darker gray, DMC. Apart from the lilac and the aged pewter, everything else is DMC. But yeah, so I'm working on these big ears of the jackrabbit. I haven't done the white, and there's like one of these orange colors on the inside of his ears, like that. So I haven't done. I've done just one of the white parts, and not the other one. And I'm, like I said, I'm working on these darker colors on the ears. I've done there's like an outline of this, you know, aged pewter color. I've done those. By themselves, they don't show up well on the, you know, when you first glance at the fabric, or while you're stitching. Actually, this gray is a little hard to see against the green. It looks good on the camera, but it's you know, when you're stitching, it's a little hard to see sometimes. But this darker color is going in very nicely, and yeah, so that's the Jackrabbit. So I have, today is the 7th day, And I may work on that a little bit tonight. My sister and I are going to hear the Phoenix Symphony tonight, so I don't know how much more I'll work on it, because I still, I want to take a shower and do this and that and the other to get ready and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I've worked on it a little bit today, this morning, and, I may work on it a little more late tonight or whatever when we get back for the symphony. I don't know that I'll work on it this afternoon while we're there, but I mean, before we go, I don't know. But anyway, so that's the Jackrabbit. That's my main WIPGO call for number 19. And the other one for number 19 is Sleepy Hollow number 3. So this is the 4 parts of the Sleepy Hollow. It was a 4-part mystery sal back in 2019. And I think I talked about this last week. I finished number 1, and number 2 is all but finished. It's one of my other WIPGO pulls. It's like my number, I don't know what, 16. And the goal on it was, excuse me, was to finish it. And there's just a very little stitching left, so I should be able to meet that goal if and when it comes up. But in the meantime, I wanted to start this number 3. It's as my secondary, one of my secondary charts, to start this this one. And so the text here says, "You'd best beware the witching hour when every witch will show her power." So there's some witches. There's one with a broomstick here. There's a little cauldron, a fence, a little house, some pumpkins. There's a black kitty. And some tombstones and stuff. This big tree. And there's some ghosts and other, like, there's clouds behind this tree. And some stars and stuff. And so all the white stuff I'm doing in Etoile to give it a little sparkle. And there's like 2 shades of green and 2 shades of orange for all the stuff you see here. Yeah, so I did finish the border I was working on last week, and I got just a little bit of a start on the words. So there's the border. So I started over here, and it doesn't go all the way down. It goes just on that side and then down this side. And so since I had gotten down to here, I just went ahead and, because I was going to start with the tree, it goes over here somewhere, but it was easier to start on the words and, just, I'm going to go backwards on them, whatever. But I don't know if and when I'll get back to it. I have at the end of the month, I have almost a whole week where I think I want to work on the secondary charts that are for each of these numbers, so that I can maybe, get a little more headway. Maybe I can work on this a little bit more, so that it's, closer to reading. Or I could work on the, because the way when you charted this, you could either do it, all 4 pieces like this, or 4 separate drums, which is what my plan was to do. But each of these drums, each of these weak strip patterns has a circular pattern to complement it to be the top of the drum. So there's 4 different tops, and I have not done any of them. I have extra fabric that over here that is big enough for each of the drums. So I don't know. I want to eventually do those. I haven't done any of them. So, but I do want to do those to go with this, because I'm not going to be able to finish them as drums until I do those 4 charts. So we'll see. That may be off in the future somewhere. But anyway, so I did do a little bit more on on this Sleepy Hollow chart. And really, that's all I've been working on, because I've been working on the Jackrabbit all this time to get my 7 days in. And next week I'm going to be doing, of course I want to do the Mother's Day stitch on Sunday, but also I want to start on one of my other things, either Come Down Fount or Lapin dans mon jardin. I can't even say it. A rabbit in my garden. I kind of want to do that, because it's just, I have just a bare minimal start on that, and there's all kinds of fun stuff in there, so I want to work on that. But I don't know, between that or Come That Fount, I don't know which one I'm going to be doing. I don't know. But anyway, so that's what my plans are for next week. And also, my sister had to go to Hobby Lobby she was looking for some finishing stuff. She's going to be doing the Botanical Bee chart, which is a hands-on design chart. Excuse me just a minute. I think, here in Phoenix, because of the climate, there are several growing seasons a year. And I think out here, there are things that I'm somewhat allergic to, that I was never allergic to when I was growing up in Albuquerque. And, and in Little Rock, when I lived there, I really only had, allergic reactions, whatever, usually just things like a little postnasal drip, kind of stuffy nosed kind of stuff, when the pollen count got very high. In Little Rock, there was a certain time every spring when you'd walk out the door and everything is covered in green, because all the trees would release their pollen or whatever. So there would be just green coating on your car, almost like snow in the wintertime, right? Just a green coating on your car and green on the sidewalks, and where whenever it would rain or when people wash their car off, there would be green along in the gutters, and stuff like that. So, the pollen count was very high at a time like that. So then it would affect me, and usually right around this time too, in the April or May or whatever. But here in Phoenix, there's a lot more stuff that grows, and it grows basically all year round, because it's warm here all year round, and various plants have their growing seasons whenever. And so I'm all stuffy headed and congested and all of that because of that. Anyway, so I started off saying that my sister wanted to go to Hobby Lobby to get some stuff to finish the Botanical Bee. And so while I was there, I was just, I just went along because we were get lunch and whatever. And so I was over in the cross-stitch area while she was, looking through other stuff. And, of course, I didn't have anything specific that I needed, which is always the dangerous time to go there. But what did I do with it? Oh, here. One of the things I did buy was more of this. This is 46 count Bristol linen, ivory colored. It's basically an off-white. So if I get around to using this, I'm sure I'll dye it some color, because I have to think about stitching on white. So this 46 count that's what I'm doing. That Give Greatly. I had started on that, and on that chart I'm using one thread over two. So yeah, I talked about last week about that Starry Night chart, the Prairie Schooler Starry Night chart, and I think I had decided on the 28 count tea-dyed linen that I had bought at Michael's the other day. But, you know, I just couldn't resist it. Actually, I was looking to see if they had more, if they had Murano Carré. They had some 25 count Lugana, but the 32 count Murano Carré, you know, they've gotten down to where they only carry like one color, and I didn't even see it that there. So I don't know if they've discontinued it altogether, or they just didn't happen to have any that day. They had lots and lots of Ada, various counts and various sizes of Ada, and a little bit of, they had a couple of things of even weave, but I just got this instead because I wasn't really, you know, getting a whole lot of fabric. I just was, you know, looking at what they had, and if I had seen Murano Carré, I would have snatched it up. But anyway, so yeah, I wish they still carried those because it was so it was just interesting and different, and all the different colors that they had and all that. It was fun to be able to buy that at Hobby Lobby, and you know, yeah. But anyway. But also, while I was there in the crusted section, I got, you know, these are little needle minders, and I just got them. You know, I don't know if I might even have these, something like this already. They're wooden. There's a bee. There's a little honeycomb that says "Be Creative," and then this is like a little flower. Yeah. So these, because they have this little button back things. I actually prefer to use them like on the backwards on the fabric, so that because that little button thing, a needle will stick to that, but it you know it doesn't lay flat, right? But a needle will lie flat on this wooden part because there's a magnet behind it. And so I feel better about having the needle like on the back of the hoop, you know, where it's sort of more protected. So, you know, I always, these kind with a little button back, I put backwards basically on the fabric. Anyway, but I also bought another pair of scissors because that's the way I am. And I bought this little thing, which is like basically a notions pouch. It's a little organizer bag is what they call it. Square organizer bag. And they have these at Hobby Lobby. And this is like a nice little corduroy fabric. They had them in pink and in gray. And I think they also had some other, like a little case like what you would put, you know, crochet hooks in or something like that. Like a little, basically the size of a pencil case, you know, kind of thing. But I think they were designed to be for crochet hooks or something like that. Because they have a lot of, you know, crochet and knitting items, but especially crochet hooks. So I think that's what they were for. But they had these little square notions pouches, whatever. So I just bought one just because it was there, because I was like randomly spending money on things I don't need. Anyway, so I don't have a whole lot. That's really all I've been working on since last Saturday. Because like I said, I had worked a little bit on Sleepy Hollow last week, and so I worked on it some more, and some other things. But yeah, so then I spent all week working on the Jackrabbit. And so that's all I've got today. It's a short video because I've got I want to get ready for the concert and all that stuff. And hopefully I'll do a little bit more on the Jackrabbit, just for the sake of 7, you know, good days of stitching on there. And that's it. So I will see you next week. Hopefully, I mean, I probably will spend all week basically stitching on one thing, but maybe I'll squeeze something else in there. More of my secondary whips, whatever. We'll see. But anyway, so that's it, and I will see you next week. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.